This is for real. This is for real.
Doom is a piece that's for New York. My process for creating it is very non-linear. Act 1, 2, 3, the story of Romeo and Juliet, that's to the text of exactly that love story, so what Romeo and Juliet say to each other. We turn the story around, so it starts with death and it ends with meeting each other. So it puts the joy and the excitement of falling in love or meeting each other at the end of this piece, and it gives it, I hope, a very hopeful notion. Besides Shakespeare, what I incorporated in here is quotes of artistic works, like poems by Arthur Rimbaud, like texts by Heinrich von Kleist, David Foster Wallace, excerpts of Movie Hotel New Hampshire. I've done research in my own way. Like, I'm not a scholar, but I went to see a couple of pieces that I was interested in the New York Public Library for Performing Arts. Like, I wanted to see certain pieces, and they are very New York specific. So it's like Balanchine and pieces of the ABT. It's certain movement sequences that we always looked at for inspiration. I believe strongly in a creative process together that shapes a work. I work usually with material that is created with me in collaboration with the dancers and performers that I work with, and has a lot to do with their own life and work. So I usually invite people to participate with me in a creative process. The collaborators that I invited to take part in this project are at the top of their field or at the beginning of their career. So there's quite a wide age range. I'm very privileged to be able to work with dancers from the ABT company in New York City together, and principal dancer that joined us, Stefan Tuscher. There's Levi Strasser for the role of Romeo. It is interesting for me to work with a very female-heavy cast and have the roles equally prominent. In the cast are Talia Ryder, that is brilliant, that is joining in for the role of the Juliet. Remy Young, who's a young ABT dancer who is doing the ballet Shadow for Juliet. Efren Dunzig, who is a pro skateboarder, New York City-based. Eliza Douglas, who has starred in my work in the last 4 or 5 pieces that I did, and like shaped them with me. I love huge spaces, and I love composing in them in a 360-degree way. I wanted to leave the drill hall as is, more or less, not cover it up, not doing anything to it that is a big building. So everything I brought is rented material and can be given back. One reason is for sure that I didn't want to have carbon footprint. I don't think it's like very good for a performance piece that's lasting for 7 shows to build a lot of things. So I wanted to have rented material that we can give back. The drill hall is having lines on the floor, so it looks like as if it's a gym, and escalates were like driven inside of it, as if something happened outside. It's not quite clear what it is, but these cars like come across very dominant, like almost like tanks. They also have this idea of closing the inside from the outside to bring somebody of importance, but also to have an idea that is much more heartbreaking, to become like maybe the last house of somebody who is actually driving the car. So the mise en scène is 26 Escalades, like Cadillac Escalades, like cars, and a lot of speakers, because the sound system is quite intricate and the sound has to travel through the space, and crowd barriers that allow me to open the space sequentially and allow me to create a slightly different mise en scène for every act. So act 1, 2, 3 have slightly different mise en scènes that are built by those crowd barriers. It's amazing because I can actually have trajectories that are very long. And in my work, that's one of the things that are juxtaposing itself are bigger group scenes that are very dancily, but also like bigger group scenes to music, and then juxtaposed with like very, very small, intimate scenes that are going in parallel. So the timeline is not linear, it's very like much things happening in parallel and in the space. I wanted to bring this object into the drill hall and see what it does when it's there in large numbers, like almost like a fleet. And then the idea of the human body interacting with that, it's either it's crushing it, or the human body can place itself on top of it and then it becomes statue-like. So it's like a weird play with that I was interested in. And then the prom scene is a hint on Romeo and Juliet's ball, of course, and then as well as in Bernstein's like composition of West Side Story, there's a dance in the gym that we looked at 100,000 times of Jeremy Robbins' choreography, of course, of the movie, and we listened to this music like over and over. Like I have a soft spot for musicals, so it's also something that I incorporated in my work since like a long time. I have a lot of respect for New York and their performing arts history, but I also I'm so interested in what audience will do and say when they can choose freely their position, when they can move around in the space, when the duration is so much longer than anything I've ever seen in New York. So I'm a little nervous and excited what will come.